Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I thought I would show you guys how to stay tight and set up correctly when performing a barbell row. And it's just mainly for my clients, but when I do these tutorials, I go ahead and I put them up for everyone because it seems to help a lot of people. A lot of people enjoy these. I even had on the last box squat one, a coach I know watched it and contacted me and said that was great. That was a good video. I appreciate that. I complained about my lifters messing up on box squats. So we're going to cover the barbell row, and I want people to understand that a barbell row means what everyone else calls a Pendlay row. And I agree with Glenn Pendlay, that's just called a row. The modern bodybuilder row is called a bent over row where you're up in the air. A traditional row is done from the floor with a reset on every rep. Now I get a lot of guys who they don't understand what I mean by getting tight on it. They don't know how to do their setup. And I even had another personal trainer come into my comments the other day and say, hey, you know, you're wrong about how strong a person, if they get to a certain amount of strength on a strict row and a good morning, they should be able to deadlift X amount of weight. I'm not like even within 100 pounds of that. And then I saw his rows and he was bent all the way over with a plate on his back. Now here's the question I would ask someone. Can you deadlift with a plate sitting on your low back? Well, then how are you going to row that way? It's the same movement. And I think that throws a lot of people off because I'll see people and some of my clients, I tell them to get strict on their rows, and they've watched my other demonstrations, and they do shit like this to where they're bent all the way over with their elbows bent and they're doing shit like this. Okay? If that's how you deadlift, that's why your deadlift looks like shit. You don't set up like that on a deadlift. Well, why would you set up that way on a row? It's the same setup. Okay? Let's make that very, very clear. If you deadlift like this, well, holy shit, no wonder you can't lift 500 pounds. You'd have to be a 700-pound deadlifter to do it. Common sense. The row teaches you how to deadlift. It's one of the critical exercises to learning to deadlift correctly and building your deadlift. So when you set up over on a deadlift, it tends to look, for a conventional deadlift, if we double overhand, tends to look something like this before you pull yourself in, right? Everybody knows how to do this, right? This is your deadlift. Do you do this? Are your elbows bent? No, your elbows are locked. Okay, arms are straight, we pull in tight. Now, the bar is going to be closer to your foot, but the idea is the same. Okay, we set up like a deadlift. Elbows walk out at the bottom. We row. Okay, what you don't do that's what some of my clients look like, by the way. And I'm talking guys who could already deadlift 400 pounds. That's what y'all's rows look like. What are you doing? A row, let me demonstrate this again. You walk over, just like a deadlift. You lock your elbows on every rep. There is no soft reset. Okay, you don't tap the floor. You pull in tight, just like your deadlift. Right? Except that the bar is further forward because you're bent over a little more. Right? For a deadlift, it might be like this. But for the row, we're a little bit off. We're in that position to where before you pull in on the deadlift, right? Like this. That's a row. You lock the elbows at the bottom. So I always tell my guys, I want to see their elbows turn out. And if I see to where they look like this at the bottom, that bend, you're not working the lats correctly. You're using the biceps to pull the weight off the floor. And you can't remove the bicep from a row. It's impossible. It is one of the primary movers, but it shouldn't be the muscle that breaks the weight off the floor. Okay? Come over, you get strict. And the other thing, like with the guy putting the plate on his back, how could a plate stay on your back if you're doing this? We're not like this. Also, the guys who have the arm bend, that's why you have arm bend, because you're bent all the way over. Okay? Like this. Again, notice the elbows are locked. Turn them out so that we lock everything out. Okay, we reset at the bottom. Tight. Look, this is loose. This is tight. So when I say something like you can do 185 pounds for 10 reps that way on a strict row, and you can do good morning for 185 for 10, you should be closing in on a 500 deadlift. And in some cases, you may be pulling well over 500 with that strength level. But if you're at that strength level and you're not pulling over 400, you're probably rowing in one of the other ways I demonstrated. You're not rowing the way that I just showed. Because if you were, 405 deadlift would be easy. You wouldn't even be straining on that. But again, when we set up, we're not doing this. We're not cheating and flopping the weight up either. We're tight, pull in tight. Okay, now we're ready for a strict row. Just like that. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.